your disposition, and your sunny disposition.
Okay, welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting of December 17th, 2018. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Citizen statements and petitions. Anyone for that? No. Are you here for something on the agenda?
Bird band.
Okay, thank you. Correspondence to the board. Consider the request of the Metacomet Land Trust to use Inman Hill Conservation Area for a bird banding session.
So I move to approve the use of Inman Hill Conservation Area land by the Metacomet Land Trust for the purposes of a bird banding session on May 4th, 2019, from 6:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. With a rain date of May 5th, 2019.
Step down in second. You want to come up, and I'm interested to hear about it.
Okay. Really? Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
You can sit that one, Beth.
Anywhere you'd like.
Right here.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm Ann Hanscom. I live in Uxbridge. I have a property there that has a CR that Metacomet Land Trust holds. I'm on the board at Metacomet Land Trust. Long-term bird person. And this past year, I opened up my farm to bird banding to start with Brandy Van Roo, who's a professor at Framingham State, and her students. She collects nesting bird survey data, and it turns out that my farm is not unique, but unusual in the number of species that are routinely counted there. And the Patuxent Wildlife Refuge that manages the data has invited us to keep, to do make a 10-year commitment to data collecting. And this is Beth Milkey, who's a licensed bird bander, and together with Strick Wheelock, who's our master bander who lives in Uxbridge, we have put together a fundraising idea for Metacomet Land Trust benefit of doing a special bird banding session or several sessions for which people pay a donation admission price, which will help Metacomet out, and also expose people to the concept of data collection relative to birds and the importance of birds in studying climate change and, you know, what the bugs are and what the trees are and all the things that accompany birds.
And the concept of land trusts, which I think
Right.
many people, I don't know how you have found out about it, but I mean, I suppose if you read your local newspaper, you learn about these things, but we would like to help promote.
Raise the profile of land trust
and,
issues.
and encourage people to join a land trust, Uxbridge or Grafton. There's, you know, they're wonderful ones around.
Yeah.
And there are many in Mendon too.
Right.
Yes, right. Well, and that we selected Inman Hill for a couple of reasons. One is its edge habitat, and that gives a particularly a not often collected set of data as opposed to woodland.
Right.
And that's and it's very similar. The Inman Hill site is very similar to my farm, so it's
Right.
that's one reason. And the other reason is that Metacomet took an active role in holding funds while the town of Mendon brought before town meeting the vote for that made Inman Hill preserved. So we want to give sort of face time to land trusts, in particular Metacomet, and the the values that the wildlife values that are there at Inman Hill. So
Excellent. I'd like to connect with you. Do you have her contact? Okay. I'll be in touch with you about some birding stuff because that's my thing too. So.
Oh, cool.
Well, I'll send you an email.
Okay.
Oh, excellent. And Ann was kind enough to send digital copies of the proposal, but there's pictures here if you're interested in bird banding. Just, you know, it's a long half an hour explanation, but anyway, it's good that you're a
Yeah,
bird-related person.
Yeah.
How was the auction?
Good, good. I haven't heard the final tally, but my, my bird vessel was the,
And
Was it-
you did mention that we have one confirmed date that was the fundraiser part of it. But if it really looks good, if we really are able to catch and data collect these birds at that site, we might continue for more episodes. and
Well,
not
a few
necessarily
more,
donation
in
episodes.
May, but we want to try to keep it within a condensed
right,
period
and
of time.
because it's, you know, dealing with it, birds and handling birds is weather sensitive, that we put a beginning date to put the nets up and an end date to take the nets down, so that we have some flexibility if it's a rainy week or,
Right.
I mean, you can't interfere with them when it's raining because their feathers
Yeah.
get wet and
Right.
that sort of thing, so.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
is that it? That was
That's
simple.
it. Okay, all in
Is there
favor?
paperwork,
Aye.
you know, do we need to
No,
sign anything?
you're good.
Okay,
All
If
set.
you need information, we'll see that you get it.
okay.
All right,
Or if you
great.
have any further questions,
Perfect.
here we
Thank
are.
you.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hear all about it when they came in.
That's great.
I know.
Consider appointment of Jason T. Bangma to on-call firefighter.
So I move to appoint Jason T. Bagma to on-call firefighter.
Step down second. Chief? Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. As you know, one of the goals, challenges that I had when I took over as fire chief here was to build up the staff, and I'm here tonight for Jason Bangma, but also just to give you a little background that we do have 4 recruits who will be going into the call volunteer firefighter recruit program put on by the Mass Fire Academy starting in March.
Great.
One is a current member who primarily serves as an EMT, and then there are 3 new recruits. One who is sitting in the audience tonight. So we're excited to have 4 people who will go through the certification process.
Excellent.
A little bit about Jason. I first met Jason when I was over in Uxbridge. He was an intern while he was in high school for the Uxbridge Fire Department, and after graduating high school, he became an on-call firefighter and ended up taking a career position in Uxbridge. He was a career there for 10 years, having gotten his Fire 1-2 certification, and then he moved on to Bellingham Fire. After 2 years there, he earned a promotion to the position of lieutenant at Bellingham. His certifications to date are Fire Officer 1, Fire Officer 2, Fire Instructor, Fire Prevention Officer is his credential. He just finished his Fire Officer 3 class and is awaiting the test results. Last week, he received a Fire Chief credential, so he's earned that credential as well through his career. He is a resident of Mendon. When he would first approach me 3 weeks ago, I was very happy to have heard from him because I knew he lived here, and I mean, I would describe Jason as a firefighter's firefighter. He very strong in his knowledge, and I think he'll be a huge asset to the department.
Excellent.
So I'd recommend that you appoint him to the department.
Fantastic.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, Jason, for your willingness to step up in the community.
No problem.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Great.
And thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Okay, anything else?
I have no questions.
Okay, perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you.
Did you want to cover the ambulance now, or you want me to wait?
It's not on here.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
It's all right, go ahead.
Just,
Well, over the weekend, I emailed you both about the agreement that we put in place with Upton in order to provide coverage. Chief will tell you a little bit more. Go ahead.
Yep. So a year ago, when every year an OEMS, Office of Emergency Medical Services for the state inspector, comes out and inspects the ambulance and reviews the EMS records. And last January, when the inspector was out, he identified, I think it was the only thing on the report, some painting that needed to be done on the ambulance. That was being held up because of the uncertainty over shared services and the direction town was going, and whether that ambulance was going to be in service for any length of time. Now that Mendon has a fire chief, we're going to be looking, we need to replace that ambulance, and I hope to be able to bring something to the spring town meeting on that. But even if town meeting approves it, then it's still up to a year, 9 months to 12 months to get an ambulance in from the point of order. So we're looking at 1.5 years to almost 2 years that we'll still be with this ambulance, which is 2 more inspections from the state, and I just didn't want to hold them up. It's a couple of $1,000s to get that paint job done. So we scheduled that for this week, which meant we would have been without an ambulance for 4 to 5 days. When I notified the surrounding chiefs that that was going to be the situation and that we would be relying on them and sending a crew from our station to support them, the chief of Upton, Chief DeFranzo, sent me back a message late Wednesday that asking me if we'd be willing to borrow their ambulance if they would loan it to us, which is a great offer. We did it a couple of times in Uxbridge with Millville and Northbridge, both on an ambulance and a forestry truck. And so over Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we were able to put together a memorandum of understanding and get it signed by the parties. So we actually have Upton's backup ambulance in the station as of this morning. And it's done a call already today, so we're very fortunate to have that, very thankful that Chief DeFranzo reached out to give us that offer.
That's great.
Me personally, I really appreciate Upton's willingness to help us out, you know, and lend us their backup ambulance. It's pretty cool of them, so, you know, thank you to them.
Yep,
you know,
absolutely.
Their willingness to do that. And
Yeah, that's really appreciative.
It's great.
So we need a motion to, because you've signed it.
I signed it.
Well, it's under 48 hours, and I think it's important that we finalize that today, so.
So I move to authorize the town administrator to sign the MOA with the town of Upton for their backup ambulance.
Step down second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, yeah, thanks, Chief.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Discuss commercial agreement with Keller Williams, not here. Okay, go ahead.
So a couple of meetings back, we discussed, and then again at town meeting, we discussed the future of Morrison Drive.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back 4 years, maybe 4 years now. We had a realtor at that time who was brokering the parcel at 16 for us. It was headed up by this person, Duncan Chapman, in this firm at the time. He has now joined Keller Williams Commercial. They are doing a number of municipal type projects like this. So I had met with him after we had first discussed it. I mentioned a couple of projects that we still are interested in: Morrison Drive, potentially this paddock site behind the housing to be looked at, 16, of course, sort of multiple properties, and having professionals sort of take an interest in where these parcels are going. So they had sent me over their draft agreement from 2012, and I had run it by Cindy, run it by town council. She has no problem with us moving forward in this direction because it is a professional service. We don't have to go out for RFP, but she would prefer obviously a newer date than 2012. Mm-hmm. So what I'm looking for here is direction from you that you would like me to continue to work with this group that we've used before, and to meet with them to start brokering an agreement, and then sort of further define what we are looking for on these parcels.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously we want to do something with the parcels. My only concern with the Morrison Drive one, and I brought it up in the past, is I'm not sure it's as cut and dry as we think it is because of the infrastructure that's already been put in place. There would have to be an easement across town property to get to it, et cetera. So I'm still a little bit concerned about that one parcel and how do we, and are there other potential uses for that parcel outside of just selling it that the community could benefit
I
from?
agree. And so we need to, and that was part of it before, we need an assessment of that particular property. So I explained some of the nuances of the site, and they would obviously have to have a group come in and sort of really assess even, I mean, not just the base of what the value is, but what is needed in the property to be whatever it could potentially be.
Sure.
That's what we need to know. I mean,
Yeah.
there's, just selling it as is doesn't make much sense if we don't know what the potential value is to us as a town. So, and we need to hire someone to do that. So if you're all right with working, I didn't have any previous work with them. That was a little bit before my time, so I have to rely on you.
Is it worth putting it out to an RFP to other commercial brokers to see if they're interested in doing it, or?
Potentially, but I'm more concerned about, I want to get something on Maytown meeting on something. I'd like to, and I really want to get somebody analyzing that site. So I don't see much risk on that. If you want me to scale down to one project and do that and then RFP the rest, I could do, I mean, I'm open to any number of things.
Sure.
I just want to keep us moving.
You want some movement?
For May, that's all. And this is a good time right now to keep somebody doing something on that, so.
Well, I mean, if you look at the low-hanging fruit, I mean, the Paddock property's kind of tough because we want to work with Bill McHenry on that. And, you know,
There's limitations on there too.
Right.
yeah, and there's limitations on that one. The other parcels are, which parcels? So we have the one on Morrison,
Yep,
the Paddock, and what was the third one you listed?
it's 16.
Oh, Route 16. So Route 16, that's, yeah, that right there, I'd be interested. We could start talking about
Right.
Route 16 and letting them consult on some great ideas.
Exactly. I mean,
I'm willing to do that, but I don't know what would be on the town meeting for May on
right,
that.
we don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to have somebody, some firm, come in and take a look at these sites and tell us what the possibilities are. And then, at that point, once we have somebody working with them too, and they sort of generated some interest, we have to bring in economic development to talk to them about if
Absolutely.
it makes sense for the community or whatever we're trying to do. But I want to start a dialogue about and get some data to do that,
Yep.
so.
I think that if they're willing to, or whoever's willing to come in and help try to consult on how we can repurpose that building or sell it, and identify all the legalities that go along if we wanted to sell it, because obviously there's easements, there's infrastructure stuff that would have to be taken out, there's, because right now it connects to the fire department.
Right.
And also connects to, I believe Marbell and who do we have for our ISP here, in the town? Is it Comcast? Comcast. I think it connects to Comcast, which is right on the
Okay.
corner of the fire department's, property.
Mm.
So the pipes come from two different directions.
Okay.
So, you know, so that's, you know, again, those concerns, and how do we handle that? Do we divide up the property and have a,
Right.
have a back, you know, a back drive that goes, you know, at the very back of our property and separate it off to get access to that property? But there's the bridge there, right? Because there's a wetlands crossing there. Do you replicate that wetlands crossing?
Right, so
How do
many
you
things.
get power back there?
Many things.
You know, so there's a lot of stuff on that building that would really have to be looked at, and determined before you could even think about selling it.
Right.
Right.
If they're willing to help with identifying all those pieces, why not?
Right.
You know, otherwise you have to establish a building committee, or somebody's gonna take the lead on that
Right.
project.
We needed to get a sense of what we're really talking about,
Or a feasibility committee,
exactly.
something, you know
Right.
what I mean? So
They
if they
should-
wanna help with that, then you don't have to establish the committee.
Right.
Right.
I'd like to see, rather than us just speculating about what could potentially be, start getting some ideas about, is this really even, what are we talking about here? I mean, there's a possibility that the value is only to us, right? And that's something we should know as we're moving forward with other projects that are being talked about, so.
Yeah.
I mean, and the only other thing is, the only concern that I would have about single sourcing with somebody on Route 16 without really putting out the RFP,
Well,
that's a
they,
huge parcel down there.
well, they would put it out to RFP,
They would-
like
yeah.
last time.
Okay,
so
I remember,
essentially-
I wasn't here last
Yeah,
time,
so essentially,
Yeah.
we hire them, we broker with them, they get paid commission off of the things that they bring in, and they handle that process for the different parcels for us. So that's what happened last time, but what we brought in was solar, then people wanted something different, so I'd like to, let's get a month in and then report back. And maybe we can get them in here and talk a little, or maybe even 2 months, let them take a look, and then come back and see preliminary kind of ideas, what they think.
Right.
All right, so I'm clear, though, there's no out-of-pocket expenses with these
Nothing.
folks. They're willing to come in and consult, they're willing to
Right.
hedge that we're gonna do something in the future.
100%. I
Okay.
mean, we'll
what
have
I'm
a
sure.
contract, right, just like they were a Realtor.
Yep.
So, I mean, to them, I mean, I can't really say, can't speak for them, but my guess is their main interest is 16 again, and that's where the carrot is, you know, so any of these other side projects that we have that we can rope in at the same time, you know, so.
Yeah,
I
I'm all
have no
set.
problem talking with them, but I want to make sure that we leave our options open with whatever brokerage firms we want to use in the future. If we solely have to go with them through this agreement, then we might want to rethink
Okay.
that and really understand the terms and conditions and possibly stick it out to RFP just for the consulting piece of it.
We could,
You know what I mean? So I'm willing to talk about it more on that, in that respect. But I don't know this firm at all, except that they've done work for us back in 2012.
okay.
Well, not even, that firm didn't even do it. It just happens that the gentleman, Duncan Chapman,
Yeah,
was with another group, and now he's with Keller Williams Commercial. So he's familiar, but not Keller Williams.
Right.
Which, I mean, Keller Williams is a well-known name.
So I don't know what your thoughts are, Mark, but those are my thoughts.
Well, I mean, if you're more comfortable with going out to RFP for one of these brokers,
be RFQ, really.
RFQ, yeah.
I just think that we don't want to limit our options if, I mean, this is a huge project down here, and these other ones are, well, there's really not much we can do with Paddock right now,
Right,
because there's limitations on that, and there's a lot of legalities we have to figure out with
right.
Morrison.
But I don't think that hiring, well, I mean, unless we're already gonna start debating potential commissions off a thing that we're not paying, that's my only issue, is we're gonna need to hire somebody to do the background work either way. So, I mean, we could limit the scope of their services to a certain thing, but then we'd probably have to pay out of pocket for it. I mean, we'd have to figure that piece of it out,
Right.
you know, because they're obviously, we have to
Well, that's what-
incentivize the work, and so,
And that's exactly what I'm getting to.
yes,
That's exactly what I'm getting to. They're gonna have a lot of skin in the game,
right.
you know. and
Which could be okay. I mean, it'd be the same for any, I mean, I don't know them more than I know any other Realtor firm that might want to come in and do this kind of work. I mean, so we could certainly advertise RFQ and get qualifications in here for different Realtor, and then interview different firms. We could do that. The only reason I would say this is, we've used them before, we're familiar with the product.
Well, we're familiar with one person of
Yes,
the product,
you're right, and it expedites the process, which is really what I'm trying to get.
as long as they brought all that information over with them.
Yes, right,
Yep. Well,
so.
anyways, yeah, these are really big, important decisions for our community. I think, in my opinion, I'd be more comfortable with doing an RFQ and really doing this formally.
We could do an RFQ.
And I'm not trying to delay the process, and I'm not even saying that they're not qualified, but I haven't had an opportunity to even research them. And I just think that that's a huge project down there on Route 16.
Okay.
Okay, consider Chapter 90 reimbursement request.
Let's see, I move to approve the Chapter 90 reimbursement for North Avenue in the amount of $166,485.46.
Step down second. Discussion.
The only thing I know about it is the work that he did from Estes to Misco, is that what
Yep.
it was?
That's what it looks, yeah.
Any other information we need to know on this, Kim?
No, I don't. I thought he was gonna be here.
Me too.
Well, it's just a reimbursement. It's not
Yeah, I mean,
a
the work
project
is,
approval. We've already approved the project.
well, yeah, we've approved the project, but is Alan satisfied with the outcome of the project?
Well, he signed off.
Yeah,
Well, maybe he's just delayed. We could wait, come back to it, see if he gets here.
Okay. Well, we're just about done, so
I mean, unless you're comfortable with just approving it, Mark.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Project came in under estimated cost by 33,000.
Okay, and I'm fine with it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Might as well text Alan and tell him he doesn't have to come.
Probably asleep.
Okay, renewal of licenses.
So I move to approve the renewal of all the following licenses as listed in the agenda for 2019, pending departmental approvals.
Step down a second. Any further discussion?
I reviewed the list quickly. It didn't look like there was any new licenses in here, correct?
You're going to see Showtime Entertainment. I sent an email last week. Their liquor license was approved by the ABCC on December 12th. They let us know December 13th, and licenses will expire on December 31st. So this would have to be renewed. It's going to actually be expired at the end of the month and needed to be renewed for next year.
Okay.
So
So that's the only other one?
that's the only new one, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. That's it, all right? No, that's not it.
It's all right.
Maya Healthcare Grants and Programs.
Yay.
And yep, that's it. We're all done.
You know, couple of things.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. So we were very fortunate to receive a grant award from Maya and Blue Cross to help us start a health and wellness facility center for employees in Mendon. So that initial grant is for $1,000. Their preference would be for the town to match, but we are not obligated to do so. Tanya has taken a poll over the last week or so about what types of things employees are interested in doing. So to be clear, it's not for programming, we'll get to that in a second, it's for equipment. So the things right now, the most interest is in getting a treadmill desk. The second is elliptical, the third is a spin bike, and people are also interested in free weights and resistance bands and things of that nature. In addition, Maya is also going to be running potentially monthly programs here about health and wellness starting this year, kicked off by something in January about nutrition, and then some will be about brain savviness and about all sorts of things that can benefit.
That's good.
Yes, it is good. It's very positive. So I would like to match this grant so that
So
we can.
where is this gonna take place?
So ideally, it would be in the brand new police station, but it is not built yet, and so it will not be there. So
Is there a gym in the, I thought we didn't.
We had to do some cuts.
Yeah.
So when I had originally started talking to Maya about this, it was to get equipment for a gym in the new police station. Where is it gonna go now? My idea would be to put it downstairs in the in the Parks and Recreation office, since Dan will soon be moving out for the summertime anyway, and repurpose that location because it is more convenient for the majority of the staff, including the PD and people coming in and out of that side entrance. So that would be where I would put it.
Okay.
What's with the skeptical faces?
Do we need a shower
skeptical-
facility too?
Hopefully no one is like running, but I certainly would encourage people to Be great to get 2 so people could do their meetings while they're walking. Everything helps with health and serotonin levels in order to have a positive work environment. So, anyway, we're very excited to receive this initial grant.
It's great.
Because-
$1,000, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Can you use this grant to help provide a stipend to employees for a gym membership?
Cannot. It's only for equipment. But they have so many programs that we will be, including like online yoga classes, and then they can, once we get the equipment in place, and if we get free weights, they have a personal trainer that they'll send out to teach people how to use the free weights. Maya will cover all that. So, this is very positive.
It
Do we have
is.
to have people sign liability waivers and
With
stuff
this,
like
with the
that?
skepticism. This
I'm
is
just
this
not,
is
I am
excellent.
not gonna support spending $1,000. Happy that you got the grant,
That's fine.
but I can't.
Okay, that's fine.
That's my thought.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, put it on the list of budgetary priorities, but
Okay, well, I'll take that $1,000 and we'll get something
yeah, you
with
can
it.
get something.
I'm going to try to get a treadmill desk for downstairs.
How about a juicer? Vitamix are pretty expensive.
Juice bar.
Vitamixes are almost $1,000, man.
Let's just thank our.
Well, yes, thank you, Maya.
thank you,
Maya, yeah, no,
Yes,
seriously.
thank you.
Very much
We are
appreciated.
We appreciate this, and we will put it to good use on
Yes,
behalf of the town of Mendon.
absolutely.
Do we have to do a motion or
I don't
something?
think
Well, then
so.
if you're not gonna match it, I'll
No.
just tell them that you
Okay.
just couldn't.
Well, I just wasn't sure, yeah.
The
I
motion
think, yeah.
will only been for a
Motion
match.
was a match, okay.
Okay.
Other than that,
I
we'll
wasn't-
be probably
Wasn't sure what protocol you were
purchasing
looking
a
for tonight.
treadmill.
I was just thinking about, maybe we need it for the grant, but I don't think we don't need to do that.
accept the grant. I don't have any paperwork yet, so
Okay,
you might have to.
maybe at some
Maybe you
point.
can make a motion that says, I authorize the town administrator to sign any paperwork related to this grant for Maya, and then when it comes in,
So moved.
yeah,
Step down a second,
there you go.
all in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
Okay, see?
Okay, that's it, right?
Mark's the only one who signs this.
That one, I think everybody does, because that's
Okay.
the reimbursement, that's not your normal.
I move to
project.
enter into executive session under Purpose 2, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, Kim Newman, Dave Kersey, and Jen Welch. A roll call vote is needed, and we will reconvene only to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Burke, aye, right?
Real aye. Thank you.